My name is Matthew Belzer, and if you're watching this video, you're probably in my A&P1 class, and I'm going to be your instructor this semester. At the beginning of each semester, I'd like to send out a little welcome video, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to kind of walk you through the course logistics, talk about the syllabus and schedule, and talk about the expectations for the class and things like grading, etc. So, when you log into Blackboard, which is our learning management system and the platform that the course is going to be run out of, right, you'll see something that looks exactly like this. And on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see a series of tabs. Whenever you log into Blackboard, the first page you're always going to be directed to is the announcements page. The announcements page is important because if I ever have to communicate anything to you, like I've graded exams or there's a change in the schedule or I'm pushing something back or whatever it is, I will create an announcement and then I will email that announcement to your ACC emails. Now, I won't email all of you individually, it'll just automatically email to your ACC emails, but it'll be on the announcements page. That's how I'm going to communicate with you. The Tools tab bar has a really important feature in it, the most important of which is probably the My Grades, right? Because you're going to be checking your grades pretty frequently to make sure that you're staying on top of course material and also to make sure that I haven't made any mistakes or anything like that. It rarely happens, but it kind of can happen, and I think that everybody should get in the habit of kind of overseeing their own educational experience. Ancillary things or kind of secondary things are the send email. Send email, you can send an email to anybody in the class or you can check everybody and send an email to everybody. So if you find like a super cool video talking about an action potential and you want to share it with the class, you can send it to them in their email. It's also a nice way of being able to network with people, especially when we're doing the handouts. So those are the two things that I would pay attention to there. I don't do discussion boards or anything like that. Course evaluation won't become relevant until the end of the semester. This is where you're going to evaluate me as an instructor, again, toward the end of the semester, and I will give you a heads up when that's going to happen, and I usually incentivize that with just a little bit of extra credit. Now, we're going to spend a few minutes here talking about the syllabus, and I'm going to open it up as a PDF file. So when you open up the syllabus, the first thing you see is my name. You see my title, Masters of Science, and then you see my email address. The best way to communicate with me is via email. Please use your ACC email because I can't respond to a bunch of random emails. It's actually against protocol. So please use your ACC email when you're emailing me. Now, there are two identical classes that I'm teaching this semester. So I'm teaching two sections of A&P1, which is actually good for you guys because I have a Monday, Wednesday class and a Tuesday, Thursday class. You both have the exact same syllabus. It's the exact same course. And even though the class is technically Monday, Wednesday from 9 to 11:50 a.m., all of the lectures are already up in video format. However, every week, I'm going to be doing a review on Wednesday, and Wednesday only from 9 to 11:50 a.m. On Thursdays, I'm going to be doing a review from 3 to 5:50 p.m. Even if you're in my Monday, Wednesday class, you can come to this one and vice versa. You can attend whichever one you want. But so the classes technically in Blackboard say 2 days a week. We're going to have one meeting each week, and it's going to be a review session, and it's going to be associated with a little bit of extra credit. So I just want you to be familiar with that. And within the email I sent out, the first email has the link to the Zoom session for the first week, both the Wednesday and the Thursday Zoom session. So again, you can attend either one, right? And I'll be taking attendance, and it's going to be associated with extra credit. It's also a really fantastic way to prepare for things like exams. Now, you can go through and read the syllabus. I'm just going to highlight a couple of important things. One, make sure you have time to dedicate to the class because it's kind of a work-intensive class. You can always check out the common course objectives if you want, the course rationale, but I am going to go to a couple of different things. So required material for the class. We're going to be using a textbook called OpenStax. And OpenStax is a free educational resource. I'm going to show you where you can find the link to that, meaning that you can just go and download it or access it online and read it that way. If you really want to buy a textbook, you can buy the Merriam Essentials of Anatomy and Physiology, but it's the 11th edition is the newest edition. I'd buy an older edition, and I don't make you buy software or anything like that. In fact, I try to minimize the amount of out-of-pocket expense for all of my students. It's just something that I do. I think it's kind of rude to make you buy like a $300 textbook. So, but what's important with that said is that you have access to the online material, because we're going to be covering 16 core topics, and I would even maybe buy a 3-ring binder, right? Label it by topic like cell, etc. I've given you a suggested labeling scheme here. And organize your material right off the bat, because the first exam is going to go over chapters 1, 2, and 3. So if you have introduction, chemistry, and cell in your notebook, you can organize all the lecture and lab material into that notebook, and it'll make life a little bit easier on you. Or you can do whatever you want. You don't have to do that, but I've given you a suggested labeling scheme for the content that we're covering, and I notice that people who do that tend to do pretty well in the class. So library, Respondus. So you're going to have a series of quizzes and exams. Quizzes, open book, open note. You can log in with whatever internet browser you like. No big deal, right? Quizzes are just to prepare you for exams. You can collaborate with people. You can work with people. As long as you're learning the material, I don't care. Exams, on the other hand, are going to be proctored with Respondus. So we have instructions for Respondus and getting started, and the link to download Respondus. And what Respondus is an internet browser. So just like Google Chrome is an internet browser, Respondus is an internet browser. And the only way that you can access the exams is using that Respondus lockdown browser. During the exams, you're going to have to open up your mic and your camera, and you're going to be proctored for that time. So the exams, right? The end of unit exams are going to be proctored tests, not the quizzes, just the exams. So continuing on here, you can kind of read through that, lecture lab videos, the lectora modules, which I'm going to talk about in just a few minutes. So the way that the class is set up is there's 6 total exams. 4 of them are worth 120 points, 2 are worth 135 points for 750 total points. There will always be a what I call check the box section. So you're going to need Respondus, right? There are 6 total exams. Each exam consists of 2 sections, which is check the box. And those are things where you're just inputting, you're just checking a box. Multiple choice, multiple answer, true, false, etc. We kind of think of it as the multiple choice portion of the exam. The other section of the exam is going to be short answer. And you won't get your grade right away on that because I'm going to be grading it. And remember, you need Respondus, you need to open up your mic and your camera when you are taking exams. So you can look through the exam format and look at those. The weekly quizzes, on the other hand, open book, open note, you can use whatever browser you want. Those are intended to prepare you for the lecture exam so you can see kind of the depth and breadth of question that's going to be asked. Grade calculations, we have 6 total exams for a total of 750 points, and then we have a weekly quiz. Those weekly quizzes are due Sunday at midnight, and when we look at the schedule, you're going to see that. There are also weekly review sessions. Each review session, so here's the formal points for the class. You have the 6 exams, right? We're 750 points in total. 4 are worth 120, 2 are worth 135. And then you have the weekly quizzes, 15 and 16.67 points, and the class total is 1,000 points. So 900 to 1,000 is an A, etc. I've also thrown in some extra credit early on just to get you motivated. So every week you attend a study session and participate and work with your group, you get 3 points of extra credit, and I'll be taking attendance toward the end, right? So you get 3 points of extra credit for a total of 45 potential points. If you attend all of those, that can actually turn a B into an A. You know what I mean? It can make a big difference when it comes down to final grading time because I don't give a lot of wiggle room. And then you have module reviews and quizzes, 15 at 1 point apiece for 15 potential points. And trust me when I say you're probably going to want that extra credit, and it's only associated with Unit 1. So I would attend. I would focus as much as you can and try and get off to a good and early start. Please complete the orientation quiz. The orientation quiz is up and available. I want to make sure that you guys have read through the syllabus, the schedule, a lot of the information on it I'm covering right now. So withdrawals, I can withdraw you at any time, but I usually don't. I'm usually pretty hands off about that because y'all paid for the class. So I view withdrawing you without your permission as being kind of an infringement on your what you paid me for, right? So with that said, withdrawals are kind of in your hands. So if you feel like you're getting too far behind in the class, you can send me an email and I'll be honest with you about where you're at. And if you need to withdraw, a W looks better than an F, right? Incompletes are only given under if every single one of the criteria is met, because the department is super super strict about it, and people have almost lost their jobs over not doing incompletes correctly, and I don't play around with them because I know from an administrative standpoint they're very very serious about this at ACC. So I will only give you an incomplete if every one of those criteria is met. So make sure to read it. I don't give those out very readily. Use ACC emails. Again, when you're emailing me, don't use other emails. Don't cheat. And you have the right to express opinions and talk and be safe in this place. And really, what this all boils down to is just don't be a jerk to anybody. And I don't think you're going to be, because all you're trying to get into an allied health. Why would you even be here if you were going to create problems? Students with disabilities. There is the SAS office link in the syllabus, and if you have an SAS accommodation, please give me the letter. It's just between you and I. I have no problem working with students who need certain accommodations. I'm really friendly in that respect, so be open with me, be honest with me. Now, this is all COVID related stuff. One of the things I do like to highlight is that every student in the class is entitled to a mental health day. You get one. I'll keep a sheet and I'll actually check it off if you ever use it. And what that means is it's kind of like a fuzzy blanket. So let's, say you worked 7 doubles and you have 3 kids and they kept you up for 2 days, and then you just kind of realize that the exam is due Sunday at midnight. One time and one time only, you can email me and just say, I'm taking my mental health day. I don't want you to do it unless you really need it. But if you need it, it's kind of like a fuzzy blanket, right? It'll do one time. You can call in that favor. Anybody in the class, right, gets one time to call in that favor, and I'll push any assignment or exam back 48 hours just for you. So you can choose to use it. You can choose not to. You don't have to disclose what the mental health issue is. I think mental health has kind of come into the limelight recently, and I want to let you know that I respect that. And I don't want you to. I want you to breathe easy. Like if you're just having a nervous breakdown or something one day and you realize an exam's due, right? Or your mom just died or something. Yeah, man, like I'm a human being and you're human beings first to me. So you can use that. Again, incomplete, only given under serious circumstances, and these are all just a health and safety protocols. So if you want to read through those independently, you can go ahead and read through those independently. Now, another very important document for the course is going to be the course schedule. And if you look at the course schedule, I've kind of laid out everything meticulously. The classes, the weekly review times, the topic we're covering in that weekly reviews, the days. And so, in the quiz I ask you, what's due January 24th? Well, we have the orientation quiz and the week 1 quiz. Every week you have a quiz due, and you see these little weekly wrap-ups. All those quizzes are going to be due Sunday by midnight. Sunday by 11:59 p.m. Sorry, Sunday by 11:59 p.m. for the sake of the phrasing that I used in the questions on the orientation quiz. So Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So you just go through and look at the schedule and go, okay, that's what's due the first week, that's what's due the second week. It should give you a good idea of how you're pacing yourself. For the quizzes, you don't have to use the Respond as Lockdown browser. For exams, you do, and to that end, before we take our first exam, we take a practice exam. It's not a content exam, it's just 5 silly questions intended to familiarize you with using Respondus so you know what to expect. Because I have had mental breakdowns with online proctoring, people proctoring me. I've gotten angry before at my proctor. I don't want to put you through anything too harsh, so just take a deep breath. Know that if there's tech issues, I'll help work them out, but that practice exam is where we're really going to work those tech issues out. But if you do have a tech issue, I'm not going to, email me. Let me know. We'll work together, and I'm not going to rake you over the coals. it hasn't been that bad, to be honest, so don't worry. So you'll see first exam is due 4 weeks in. Again, everything is kind of meticulously laid out. Now, if you look here, you'll see Module 5.1 to 5.3. So Marieb Chapter 3, OpenStax Text Chapter 3, Module 5.1. That's where you can get the information independently of my lecture. So I like the modules a lot, but they don't cover all the content that I want to cover. So the book is very good as well, both the OpenStax and the Marieb textbook. If you get a Marieb textbook, it's Marieb Essentials of Anatomy and Physiology. It's in the 11th edition. Get an older edition if you're going to actually purchase a textbook, because I don't require you to purchase a textbook. In fact, the book I use in the class is a book called OpenStax. So if you go to important links in books, you can go to the link to the OpenStax textbook and you can access the textbook for free. So if you go down here, you can give them I don't donate to them. Hell, I think it's a good endeavor. I love free or open educational resources. But so there's your chapter 1, your chapter 2, your chapter 3, your chapter 4, right? And you can just click on it and you can access it digitally, or if you want to, download it as an app on your phone, or you want to view it online, or download it as a PDF, whatever you want to do. But the OpenStax textbook is the one that I use. Marieb is a better textbook, but I just don't have the stomach to make you guys pay that much for a rapidly depreciating asset like that, meaning that they lose their value really quickly. So we have important links. That's where the textbook is. Office hours and tutoring. You can log into tutoring sessions for anatomy and physiology and microbiology at that link. This is just information about me and when the weekly review sessions are. You'll be able to ask me questions. Those review sessions are going to be super interactive. So there you go. Orientation quiz. It's up and ready to go. A lot of the information on that quiz has been covered in this talk. Anything that isn't, you can access by looking at the syllabus. Then you have Unit 1 material. So Unit 1 material, if I go to Unit 1, I see Week 1, Week 2, Week 3, Week 4. And I go to Week 1. So Week 1 review session, this is where you can find the presentation that I'm going to be using. And the way that review sessions are typically going to go, right, is that I'm going to lecture for an amount of time, and then I'm going to break you out into small groups and kind of bounce around in your small groups to figure out what's going on, where the trouble points are, etc. Here we have all the video lectures. So if you go to Video 1, Introduction to Anatomy and Physiology, it's like a 15, 20-minute video. And every video is associated with a handout. So my suggestion is to have the handout up and available to you, and then as we're going through the content and you see anatomy is defined as the study of blank, while physiology is defined as the study of blank, you can kind of fill in those blanks, answer those questions, see how material is going to come at you on the exam. That's going to be your best tool for studying. I meticulously put those handouts together in order to give you a little bit extra without having to use the very expensive software associated with the textbook. So use those handouts, right? Because that's what they're there for. They're study tools, and they're, play a major role in what I actually base exam questions off of, etc. So that's one thing I want to point out. So if you go to Unit 1 lecture and lab material, we only have like one formal lab in the first unit. So coming back up here to Chapter 1 lecture block, you have all this. You have the language of anatomy and physiology. At the bottom here, you have a chapter quiz, right? So you'll get all the videos and then take the chapter quiz. You can always do the weekly review session before you take the quiz. In this session, I'm going to be going over these first 4 videos. I'm going to kind of skim over the things that are a little bit easier and spend a bit more time talking about the things that are more conceptually challenging, like homeostasis, for example. So another thing I want to point out is when you get into Chapter 2, if you look at the very bottom, you'll see a green thing, or this is called a content folder, a green content folder titled Supplementary Modules, right? So you have your supplementary modules. Now, you don't have to complete these, but I highly recommend them. And what the modules are is, let's say we're going over chemistry and you're like, okay, I have no background in chemistry. Well, here's a little extra credit quiz. Here are the notes. And then here's the module itself that the notes correspond to. So if you need to slow down a little bit on some of the chemistry to kind of grasp what's going on, This is just like a condensed version of the textbook, right? These modules, and you'll see modules up for every content area we go over. So you can kind of walk through things. It's interactive. You can go step by step. And I think these modules are very good, especially at getting the basics across, right? So I highly recommend doing them. They don't take super long. They help to reinforce the material and the content you're going to be tested on. And there's little extra credit quizzes that you're allowed to take after, the module, after doing the module, clicking through it. You can have the notes. I highly suggest the notes. You can take your own notes, but those modules really cover the information that we go over really well. So unit exams down here at the bottom, right? When lecture exams become available, I'll send out an announcement, an email, and you'll get that. And for the weekly study sessions, in that first email announcement I'm going to send out that you're going to find this YouTube video on, I'm also going to include a link to the Zoom session for this week, this upcoming week. So for, my Monday, Wednesday people, Wednesday at 9 a.m. For my Tuesday, Thursday folks, Thursday at 3 p.m., right? So you'll get the Zoom link to each section. So make sure you click on the right one. Like if you're going to Wednesday, make sure you click the Wednesday Zoom. If you're going to Thursday, make sure you click the Thursday Zoom. Okay? Thank you so much. I'm out.